So filling up the sugars, because this is actually a pragmatic situation here. Yeah, I got one of the sugars. Probably don't even need that. I am making something that should really take like 10 seconds to make, but this is a topic of psychology that is not studied, and there are different styles of humor, and now if anybody's unaware, women are not funny, or females, excuse me, and females dominate the field of psychology. So it's curious, because you'd think that they would want to study humor, humor styles, and sure enough they do study humor styles, but not to the same extent as anything else. Like, you really think that they would want to, because psychology kind of tries to explain everything, right? And so they can come up with a theory for everything. Well, let me get this out of the way. And then, okay, but is it useful? No, it is not. Most of psychological junk is like, yeah, okay. But I forgot that. So what does this have to do with humor? And I think that a big reason they haven't studied it. Now here's a theory, and I mean, you don't really need these theories. I don't really know why you would go into these theories, because ultimately you're never gonna ever know the answer to that. Like, why has 150 years of psychological research, admittedly, no, actually, quite a few prominent people, and they always mention humor in there. It's a really of all the, well, okay, it's because they don't want to ruin the joke, I think, and so people just haven't really studied it that much. But we know that laughter has to do with humor. Oh, but what are the 4 kinds of humor? Okay, obviously you have humor that is, like this. Is it funny? Is there humor? No, these children, they're playful. There are different components of humor, one of which is definitely playful. You have to, it can't be like a serious situation and it's humorous. And so play is a big part of it, and you'd think like, oh yeah, you could just get this physiology and then you could tell how humorous something is. Well, these kids are laughing, and I mean, they're probably even telling jokes, and not funny. And so when you're studying humor, you kind of want to know, like, what are some kinds of humor, because there's the kind that is, oh cool, I have a list here. Oh, but because, okay, women are very prominent in this field, so 80% of psych majors are women. Now it used to be like 50-50 in the 50s, or in like the 60s, because not that many people went to school in the 50s. but it's kind of turned around. Maybe I think that women, well, they're the primary raising children at first, and first educators of children. So undeniably, they would care about kids, and they want them to grow up to be whatever, good people. So yeah, they want to like learn what works and what doesn't. And so yeah, I'm gonna turn the oven on because brownies are the most easiest thing to make. Oh, okay, so you have self-enhancing, self-degrading, other enhancing, and other degrading. So you kind of have this little 2x2 matrix where you got others and self, and every joke can be interpreted that way. And that's how they studied it for the past 30, 40 years. Yeah, and people appreciate those different kinds of humor in different levels. Okay? Well, even Freud was actually a big proponent of humor, and he felt like it, as every psychological trait, it holds some kind of insight into what you can't see initially. So like the subconscious and what is hidden, and I mean, it makes you think though. Why would it be such a... Okay, so you basically don't really mix it up that much because I'm doing a strategy here. Oh, forgot to... I'm really going to put chocolate chips in here. No, I was going to put nuts. I could do both. So, what's an example of other enhancing humor? I can't think of one. Like, it's just not. There's nothing funny here. Do people even tell jokes when they're playing sports? So yeah, it's an interesting field to study because there's very limited research on this. So you basically just dump in everything that's good, and everybody loves that. I mean, you can't really go wrong if you do everything. But I am thinking about whether or not to do the chocolate chips. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. Just because it's on the table. So, oh yeah, so humor. I mean, that's a good one. Why are women not funny? What? Well, they are. See, that's the thing. Is it's like, why do I keep saying that? I mean, I guess they are. I don't know. Let me think about this. I'm trying to do this caramel swirl. I mean, obviously, I'm not funny. I'm serious as a heart attack, and you know, those who can't do teach, and those who are, well, I think that, I mean, I'm looking around, and sometimes these psychologists are kind of funny, but I'm telling you, most of the time, they are not. I mean, but it's in context. You're in a library, and so yeah, everything's funny there because I could probably do some more, but I really think you need to cool it with all the good stuff here. Oh yeah. So when children develop a sense of humor at about the same time that they develop the ability to see the world symbolically instead of just concrete. So, yeah, then they can start to understand jokes. And I don't really want to ruin the joke, but because it's, well, basically a joke is when there's a contradiction and you resolve it. So that has a lot to do with psychotherapy. You always have people who are in there trying to figure out what to do with their life, and it's not a funny situation. Did it do it? We'll see in a second. Where's my little? I think the computer froze. Oh well. Oh well, what can you do? Just more pictures of children having fun. Nothing. You probably couldn't hear, but there was an error message noise. So we understand what humor is, and a psychologist actually can use it very well during the thingy to do, because they will be with people who, first off, they take themselves very seriously, and if a depressed person has even a moment when they recognize that, because it's like 6 or 8 weeks that for depressive symptoms to be technically depressed, when they just feel hopeless, low energy, they're like sleepy and whining, and so it's like, if that goes on for 6 or 8 weeks, then they are depressed, and if they have even one moment of humor, then wow, it's sort of like, why not do this? Yeah, so it does have some relevance, but not even just because if you were like, a psychologist wouldn't really try to like make people laugh or something. But if they were to model that behavior, then the person who doesn't have anybody positive in their life. But that's a bad example. I think there's much better examples out there. And yeah, just the ability to have a different perspective, something different. Here they are. Oh, Zabina, do you know a joke?
No.
Okay, alright. I don't know. Well, I know some jokes, but not right now.